Yo, what is good? Another epi, you know what I'm saying? I think we're on 31. It's a pretty good number. 31 is what was a good 31? My buddy Mike Kimmy was a baller at my high school, was named number 31. That's a pretty good 31. I believe Lizelle Durden for the Cincinnati Bearcats was number 31. So shout out to Epi 31. We made it, dude. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all rolling with your boy. Keep pushing this thing. We got also to keep pushing dates and stuff like that. You know anybody in Pittsburgh? Come through. December 22nd. I'm in Pittsburgh. And then December 30th, I'm in Kansas City. That'll be fun. Was it Knuckleheads? I just met the dude that owns it. He was actually on the show in Jacksonville with me. Good dude. And I think we're gonna move some tickets there. I'm hoping I have a decent following in both of those markets. Pittsburgh people fuck with me probably just out of hate for the Bengals. But I'm excited to line up the thing in Pittsburgh. You know why? Because it's been the hardest fucking city of the whole tour to figure out. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we fucking hate each other in the football sense. I literally had, at the beginning of this season, I had a buddy of mine that's been kind of trying to facilitate some of the booking of the shows is from Pittsburgh. And he was like, yo, we'll be able to line this up. Line something up. The place closed down like a month later, so we had to figure out another place. And we had something on the books, we never had it on the books, but we had something that was looking promising. They fell through. They ended up not being able to help us. And finally, like 2 weeks ago, we finally had a situation locked in. They confirmed it and all that shit. And it was like, I don't know. I've never been to Pittsburgh, so I don't know what part of town it is, but it's like a heavy bar scene part of town or whatever. I don't know. Downtown Pittsburgh somewhere, wherever they filmed the fucking Batman movies, somewhere in there. And literally last weekend, I get a call. We're 2 weeks out from the show, or something like that. And the owner looked at my IG and saw that I was a Bengals fan and saw kind of the tour that I was doing and pulled the plug on the fucking show. So he thought that there was an assumption that there would be like too many Bengals fans there and it's Pittsburgh, and then there would be more fights in the bar than he was ready for or something like that. Meanwhile, I've been doing this tour for the whole season. You know, I know that Pittsburgh's definitely like the biggest rivalry, but we did Cleveland, we did Baltimore. Like Baltimore for sure was the most aggressive the night of the show, but it's the night before the show, or I'm sorry, the night of the game, I should say. But it's the night before the game. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like this is a comedy show. I've never seen people fight at my fucking shows. That's not what's happening. And if it's Bengals fans and Steelers fans, like, we don't like each other, but it's not like it was like, I don't think either of us think we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. You know what I mean? Like, I don't try to invoke violence at my fucking comedy shows. You know what I mean? We're just talking a little shit. So fuck this owner who pulled the plug on it, because that would have me scrambling for the last fucking couple of days. And it's been fucking stressful just trying to figure it out. Sorry if you're watching on YouTube. I'm trying to make sure that this video is recording. It is. But yeah, it's been stressful. And it's funny. It's ironic to me that the city that's been giving me the most shit is fucking Pittsburgh. Because I'm actually trying to go to these cities and open my mind up to what the city could be. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that I'm not closed off to the idea that these cities could be cool. Like pulling up to Baltimore. I was like, this is actually kind of a dope city. Seems fine. Affordable to live in. Decent bar scene. Decent restaurants. Every restaurant I went to is pretty damn good, actually. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like get an idea of what these cities are all about. Cleveland, obviously a big rivalry. I went there with an open mind. It was as shitty as I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? It was pretty bad. Horrible weather. The lake looked pretty depressing. It was right on brand with what I already had thought. But, I went in there with an open mind. You know what I'm saying? But Pittsburgh has just been fucking jerking my chain, pretty much. And it's been annoying. But we did finally figure it out. Luckily, I'm attached to something called Don't Tell Comedy. I run it here in Los Angeles. It's one of the dopest comedy shows you can see in any city that you live in. Any major city we're doing shows in. And so I'm going to do the show through Don't Tell Comedy. We're going to do it at a venue that they have lined up in Pittsburgh for me. It'll be cool. It's not the typical setup, but honestly, it'll probably be a very fun show. And if you're in Pittsburgh, come through to the show. If you're listening to this, if you know anybody in Pittsburgh, tell them to fucking pull up. I won't talk shit to you directly, but I do have a bad taste in my mouth about the whole city. But also, I've always fucking hated that city. And you know what? They're probably a lot more similar to us than I want to admit. And when I visit there, I'll probably be like, damn, it's a city by a lake, or by a river, I should say, by a body of water. They probably have a lot of things more in line with Cincinnati than we want to admit. They've got some weird food situation. I think all they do is throw French fries on their sandwiches. That's also not that weird to me. You know, I've done a French fry or two on some fucking Sammys. Throw them in some burritos. Call it California. You know what I mean? Shit's pretty delicious. Honestly, French fries on anything kind of enhances it. I'll dip French fries into a fucking Kansas City Famous Bowl. Or Kansas City Famous Bowl. A KFC Famous Bowl. And dip that shit. So now you're dipping potato wedges into mashed potatoes with gravy and some other stuff in there. Maybe some corn. I'll do that. I'll starch it up. Just call me Starch Daddy. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. But I look forward to trying that. And other than that, everything's been hospitable. I got a place to stay there. I think some dude hit me up saying I can go to the game with him. So I think I got a ticket to that game also already lined up. So it's just been the show and getting that shit rolling. And pretty sure we have something. Or I am sure we have something. So I got that link up on turnercomedy.com. Hit that up. But yeah, it's been fucking stressful. Doing this whole thing has been stressful. Your boy's been stressed. Dealing with the better, though. Hawaii was nice to kind of relieve the stress. And then also it's almost the end of the tour. Not to say that I'm looking forward to it being over, but it has been, it's just been something that I learned a lot from and all that shit. But doing something on your own like this has been, it's been super rewarding. I'm trying to pat myself on the back more often about it too. Like, it's been really cool to do the whole thing, but also it's definitely been a lot of work. So I look forward to next season having a little bit more, hopefully, collaboration with people and stuff like that. Get some other people involved, some people that will be able to help a little bit more, facilitate things, maybe some sponsorships. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do. But we're going to keep building. We're going to keep growing. Building relationships. Speaking of relationships that you could build, I ran into a guy that I admire on a run today, and I feel like I came off as a crazy person. But if you know who Bill Simmons is, you probably do. He's a super famous dude, well-known guy. Does pretty much owns part of Spotify. And he is somebody that I listen to all the time. Like, if I'm not listening to music, I'm listening to a sports podcast of some sort, and him and Ryan Russillo are like two of my guys, and they're both on The Ringer. And I saw him, I was literally listening to his podcast, and I saw him walking across the street in my neighborhood. This neighborhood there's a lot of wealth around this neighborhood. Again, I'm never trying to flex on you guys. I do rent. But I rent by like a bunch of people that, they're doing shit. There's some people that fucking own the color blue in this neighborhood. The mayor lives down the street. During the BLM movement, I walked up the street, and a lot of people were outside of his home pretty fucking mad. I was, and they were looking at me like the way I look, and they were like, "Are you a cop? You look like a cop. You got cop energy." But I was more on their side than they want to admit. They weren't ready for that. And I wasn't ready to have that conversation. So I just let them think what they think. But either way, I was there to support. But I see fucking Bill Simmons. I'm like, dude. I got my AirPods in. I'm like, bro, I'm listening to you right now. What's up, bro? And then, but he was across the street. And then we ran. And then 100, 200 yards later, he's at this, it's not a stop sign, but it's like a crosswalk across this other street. So then we're there. And I'm like, it's like a dog chasing a car. Once you get to the fucking car, you're like, what the fuck do I do? Because I was just like, dude, I've actually ran into him before, but it was really brief. And I did kind of the same thing. I was just like, yo, I always usually do. I try to keep it cool as fuck when I see celebrities that I know. Like, especially ones that I admire. I'm always like, yo, I appreciate what you do, blah, blah, blah. Like, we had an interaction like a year and a half ago by this area of town called Larchmont Village, which, again, is the neighborhood. So it's not weird that he's walking around here. And then I saw him, and I was like, yo, I actually ran into you randomly like a couple years back. I do stand-up comedy, blah, blah, blah. And he was talking about Spotify, looking into comedy and doing all that shit. But you could tell that he didn't want it. He was also on a walk. I wasn't trying to be a crazy person. I wasn't trying to be, like, all up in his business. So there was part of me that was just like, yo, let him do his thing, live his life, whatever like that. And I was on a run, so I was trying to get back to the run. But he did ask me about, like, what Spotify was doing with comics and stuff like that. And I try to hit the run again, and I'm like, dude, I should have told him to fucking follow me. I always do that right when I leave the situation. I'm like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. A lot of people do that. It's called regrets. We all sit with them in the shower when we're screaming at ourselves in the bathroom. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you call yourself an idiot in the mirror every morning. I'm kidding. I don't do that. It's positive affirmations. But this time, I was like, he was actually talking about comedy. I brought up some things. I didn't look crazy, but I ran away, and I was thinking, I didn't run away like, I gotta go, run away. But I was literally on a run, and I was like, yo, good to meet you. I shook his hand. I was like, yo, I'm Michael Turner. He said Bill Simmons. It was cool. I told him I really love what he does, all that stuff. Like, so I'm probably in my mind thinking it was a weirder interaction than it was. It was pretty normal. He walked that way, I walked this way. And I started running again. And then I'm running again, and the weirdness of running in a neighborhood and seeing someone, then I see him fucking again. And I'm across the street, and I was just thinking about how I should have told him to follow me. And then I do the crazy thing, and across a pretty major street, I'm like, he can hear me, though, I think. And I'm like, bro, hey, follow me on Instagram, Turner Comedy. And he just looked and gave me like a thumbs up, like a weird... It was like you're crazy. Okay, bud. Thumbs up. And now I think I fumbled that bag. I think I had an opportunity to maybe get a follow. I should have been more assertive. I should have controlled the narrative a little bit more. I should have brought his phone out. But in the moment, that's where being from the Midwest hurts you in situations where I'm probably trying to be too polite or, too catering to their situation. Whereas if I was from New York City, born and raised, or even L.A., I would understand that there's an opportunity in front of me. Get this man's phone out and tell him to fucking follow you. Should have told him that I'm following the Bengals. He's a huge sports podcaster. Right? That was the opportunity. But I was running. I wasn't thinking about running into somebody. I was in my zone. So I can't be too hard on myself. At the end of the day, what is he really going to, I don't think he's going to hear something from me and be like, oh, let me change your career, change your life. Let me change your life real quick. Would have been cool if he did, but it's typically not how things happen. But hey, maybe I'll run into him again, and I'll be like, hey, remember that dude that was screaming at you from across the street to follow him on Instagram? That's me, bud. Because I saw him from across the street, and then we're walking to a crosswalk, and then there's actually an interaction. Because the cross the street thing where I was like, dude, I'm listening to you right now. That was weird, too, because we're literally walking the same way on different sides of the street. Awkward. But also, it was crazy. I was literally listening to his podcast right now. And he appreciated that. And then we're talking and walking. And then you officially part ways in the neighborhood. I'm running this way. He's walking that way. But then my run took back to I was running the opposite way of him, and he was again on the other side of the street. And I saw him, and I took the opportunity to scream that he should follow me on Instagram. Maybe I should have just kept it. Should have kept it a little bit more composed, But that is, hey. But you live and you learn. If I see him again, hopefully he doesn't think I'm a fucking creep. But that's where your boy's at. Just making interactions with people and stuff like that. What else have I been up to, though? I did do, last weekend I went to Central Valley, California. I'm in love with a girl right now who is from that area, and we go there a decent amount to see her family and shit like that. And yeah, we did a little Christmas thing. We did some holiday gift exchange thing, like a white elephant thing. Those are pretty fucking stupid, but it was fun. We did the simple thing when we were in Hawaii. We bought some Honolulu cookies and got them for them. Nobody's upset with cookies. Cost you, $20 cooking with gas. You know what I mean? We got some matching, what's it called? Everybody had to wear pajamas. Got some matching Christmas pajamas, and honestly, I'm always like, dude, we look fantastic. I look pretty great in pajamas. As you guys know, I always wear sweatpants, but honestly, I'm always pretty pajama adjacent. I can pass out at any time with sweatpants on. You know what I mean? I'll take a nap whenever I need to. So pajamas was very comfortable in. There was no Puma ones involved, but it was good. And yeah, we did the whole family thing though. It's not. And then last time, I don't know if you remember. Hopefully, you listen to the podcast regularly enough. Where the last time I was there was a guy that is now dating one of her other sisters, and she got a big family. There were 4 or 5 siblings there just this weekend. And there's this new white dude that's dating one of her sisters in the situation. So he's now the dude that they're grilling, because I've already been through that shit with the family. I think I've won them over, actually. They fuck with me pretty heavy, which is good. And so I get to observe this other guy getting just the fucking George Foreman grill sessions, which is nice. And they don't let up, and they're very loud, and it's pretty chaotic every time. So it was nice to see it, but this time this dude ended up, there's a niece or 2 nieces and a nephew involved. So there's a couple of the people have kids, and the youngest nephew probably can't be more than 7 years old. I don't know. And the guy that's the new guy in town, the new honky on the block, made the little kid cry. So that's fun. He's in the shitter now, which is exciting so now pressure's completely off me. Now I'm like a king over there. I'm running shit in this family, which is great. Got a lot of authority. Because I know when you're interacting with young children in the family, you actually don't try to pander to them. Now, that is a move. It's a veteran move in a family dynamic situation like this. You want to actually make the kids like you in order to make the whole family respect you a lot more. It is a calculated move. It's a high-risk, high-reward situation. The risk obviously being if you do something that the kid doesn't like, he's going to either cry or just not like you, and then you're not in the situation, and they're going to complain to their parents about you, and then you're doing he said, she said versus 7-year-old, and you are not genetically attached to this family, and they do not trust you over this 7-year-old, which is crazy because they actually should trust you over the 7-year-old, unless you touch the kid, and in that case, then it's an uphill battle with the truth situation. What really happened? Just don't touch the kid. We didn't touch the kid. I think it was something super simple. Like, just was like said a simple joke or trying to be like fun with him. Kid's fucking crying. 7-year-old. What are you going to do? They fucking cry. You know what I mean? And they're not going to blame it on themselves or their instability of having emotional control over the situation. No. They're going to point blame. These fucking kids, you can't trust them. That's why you don't go in there. You don't try it. You just fucking. That's why this kid. I don't even know that much about the kid. I do know he will cry. So you don't want to instigate that. Keep your distance. Think he likes anime? I tell him that's really cool. I don't say anything negative about anime. When he leaves, I hug him goodbye. When he shows up, I hug him hello. That's it. I don't initiate any interactions with these children. Fuck these kids. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be fine. And if I do interact too much, they're going to say some mean shit to me, and then I'm going to fucking cry. You know what I'm saying? You talked to a kid recently? They're fucking brutal. Under 10. These guys don't have a fucking filter. You know what I mean? Teenagers, they're fine because they know what's going on. They actually kind of sometimes look at the adults like they're cool, which, they couldn't be further from the truth on that. But but also like I'm a comedian, so they actually there's a couple of teenagers involved too. They actually I think I'm cool, or I think that they think I'm cool, and really that's all that I need, you know. They're if they're lying, they're doing a good job at that, but I'm pretty sure they think that I'm cool. So either way, Fresno was rowdy. Got to go do some hit some local spots. That's a tough little city is what it is. It's right in the middle of California, and it's a lot like the Midwest, which is it kind of reminds me of not Cincinnati so much so, but like a town that would be in Ohio or like the Midwest. And it's grimy, but I did have some of the best tacos some of the better tacos that I've ever had, I will say. These small California towns, once you get out of LA, San Francisco, they got some shit going on. They got good tacos. They might have like a couple of decent restaurants that you'd be surprised by, and they have gang violence. I know that much. They definitely have some fucking spicy stuff going on in those cities. You might want to steer clear of. Know your spots in these cities. Fresno, Bakersfield, Stockton. A lot of MMA energy in these cities. We went to a place called the Dog House when I was there, and it's like the best sandwich in town. It's a tri-tip sandwich. I've had better tri-tip. I'm not gonna tell them that. They think it's the best thing they've ever had. Okay. The barbecue sauce is whatever, but it's good. It's a good sandwich. It's a good sandwich to have in a town. Sometimes you're like, this isn't the best thing I've ever had, but like within the town, I understand how this is a popular place. It's good, it's affordable, and it's got a big ass bar where you can tell that every Friday or every Saturday, whenever they do the MMA fights, it is fucking probably packed to the gills, and they're fucking screaming at each other, and there is a fight going on in those parking lots. And right next door is a Buffalo Wild Wings, and I bet that there's a fucking, there's a rivalry between those bars. Maybe whoever has the best fight in the Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot then gets to fight the person that wins the best fight in the Dog Pound parking lot. Something like that. I don't know. It's right by Fresno State campus. So then you're going to fight a 19-year-old with a bunch of unchecked white aggression that hasn't really kind of figured himself out or the relationship that he has or doesn't have with his father. All those people are going to fight somewhere. Probably one of these parking lots is going to have some blood on it by the end of it. I think that's fun to think about. But I did. I went back there. Every time we go back there, it's nice. They got good people back there. She's got a good family. They're insane, and I say that with love. But I was raised in a family that is insane, and so I think it's nice, Like my family vacations, all I remember about my family vacations are like the most chaotic, screaming matches ever. And so, I don't know if it's a Vietnamese thing. I think it actually is, because it's definitely not an Asian culture thing. That's one thing I'm realizing being with somebody that's of Asian background is that there's different Asians, which, I know that sounds like I'm a dumbass saying that. Of course there's different Asians, Mike. I get that. But, they're completely different. Some of them are just, some of them are pretty reserved people, pretty mild-mannered people. And then there's insane ones, too. Filipino, Vietnamese, Cambodian, I've heard. Some people, Laos, which is like Vietnamese adjacent or Vietnam adjacent, like right next to it, and loud for sure, but also very funny, very like fun, and they will also talk shit to your face about you, and you got to be ready for that, for sure. And I was born ready for that. But my family growing up, Irish Catholic from the East Coast. And then we mixed. One of the families was more Italian and Irish. My Aunt Roberta married an Italian guy. And those family reunions were, crazy. Or not family reunions, just family functions. Anytime the family got together. I remember probably a 2-hour argument, and people are just screaming. And that's the other thing, too, is like my girl's family, like they're loud and they're crazy and they're just screaming, but they're actually having fun. It's usually like a fun thing. My family's loud and screaming at each other with opposite opinions and completely think that you're wrong. And they're going to tell you why. And you're not going to be able to get a word in edgewise. And like the one time there was a 2-hour argument about Howard Stern. I don't even think it was like about a specific thing he said or anything. I think it was just about Howard Stern. And this is like the late 90s, so it wasn't even like, it was like when he was radio, the height of the radio shit. But now Howard Stern, it's so funny to think about where he is now. Now he's like a media mogul and all that shit. But yeah, it was like a crazy argument just about Howard Stern. I remember those are the memories I have. Or one time there was an argument at the dinner table that my Aunt Jean threw a biscuit at my Uncle Jack, or a bread roll, whatever you want to call it. Harder one, not the Bennigan's soft boys or like a sweet roll from Texas Roadhouse you might be thinking. No, this is more of a scone in texture. Not to say that it wasn't delicious inside when you break it down, but you know, you could fucking hit somebody with this thing. You know, that was a memory I have. And then what else? Just screaming, emotional memories. You know, we all love each other at the end. You know, that's our love language is disagreeing with one another. Isn't that fun? And I say that to say happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas to all of you. We're at a nice time of the year. You know, those are memories I have. I try to remember Christmas and Thanksgiving with the fam. It's typically just insanity. No, there were some nice ones. Sometimes we would just chill. As you age, you chill a little bit more, because this is when like my aunts and uncles were all, and my mom was like in their 50s or something like that. You know, now they're in their 70s, 80s. My Aunt Roberta just broke her hip and then like fell right away when she got back. People are getting old as shit. Not old as shit, but yeah, pretty much old. They're as old as the president. Figure that out. You know what I mean? These are old motherfuckers. And yeah, it's the holiday time is always. That's why I don't really prioritize doing the nicest shit for the holidays. I do like to always be around family. Whenever you can be around family, be around family. It's all you got in the end. Typically, as you get older in this life, you realize that the friends, sometimes they come and go. You got your core friends. Keep them close. Show them love. Stay in communication with them as much as you can. But at the end of the day, it's really just the fam. And so I try to get back whenever I can, but it's never really revolved around the holidays. You know, I don't have the happiest memories of growing up Christmas time and shit like that. It was fine, but my parents got divorced when I was like 9 or something like that. And, it wasn't like we were always just trying to figure out Christmas. It wasn't like I was getting all my friends I would go over to my friends' houses and they would be like, yo, I got this, and this. I got Xbox and all that shit. And I'd just be like, yo, I'm pulling up every weekend. So now we got Xbox, you know. I never got the Xbox, but they got Xbox. But yeah, Christmas wasn't like, always something that I was always like mandatory to go home with or go home to or something like that too. I was always like during college and shit. I was always working. I worked at a hotel for all those years. Worst thing about working at a hotel is what do they do on the holidays? I'll tell you what they don't do. They don't fucking close. So I was always working every holiday for like all of college for sure. And then like I had that job for a couple years after college. Because if you remember, I graduated into one of the worst financial situations the country had ever seen. Shout out to the baby boomers that raised me. But the so yeah, I couldn't go back for Christmas a lot for that. Wasn't always a thing that I prioritized. And now, I wish I was stunting harder than I am, but it's hard to navigate going back and then traveling to these shows and shit like that. Like I got to go to Pittsburgh the days before Christmas. Then I got to go to Kansas City the week after Christmas. I don't know if you know how expensive these fucking travels are, but like I can't be switching it up, adding another flight in and shit like that. So it sucks. I wish it was different, but I won't be able to get back this Christmas. This is really a long way of me trying to tell you guys that. But I'm gonna be all right. I'm be in fucking Pittsburgh on Christmas Eve. You guys better not fuck this up. And honestly, as long as the Bengals win, I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'll be good. Speaking of which, the Bengals are fucking balling again. What the fuck's going on? This is crazy shit. I know, like, going to Jacksonville and, like, getting that W was pretty dope. Loved that. Primetime game. Also, like, I remember thinking, you know, Jacksonville, you're not really, like, I wasn't too worried about. That's the type of team that is going to have a letdown game always. They've definitely not been a team that has proven that they can step up on the primetime scale and, like, and that was the Bengals for years. So, like, I get it. I know how that feels, but it's funny now looking at it from the outsider looking in and watching the Jaguars trying to be more, because the Bengals have, I want to say they've exercised all the demons because we still want to win that Super Bowl and all that shit. But damn, we've gotten through a lot of different shit. We've won primetime games now. We win playoff games now. We win playoff road games. We win primetime road games, all that type of shit. So it's like we are a team that has different expectations going into things. And now you look at the Jaguars who are like trying to be that, like when I was telling y'all in Jacksonville, like those fans were confident as fuck. And you just wanted to tell them like, yo, it ain't always going to be like this. So you kind of expect them to lose a game like that. They came in there, their fans were talking a lot of shit. And then, you know, the team can't back it up. You just want to tell these fans to like chill a little bit, right? So it wasn't shocking that we won that game. But to go into, we didn't go into Indianapolis. We were in Cincinnati. Then we had the Colts come in. But, like, the Colts are pretty frisky, would you call it? I would say kind of evenly matched with what the Bengals are doing. It wasn't an uneven game. I don't know. Like, they have a really good defense. We don't have our quarterback. So, like, they should be able to kind of scheme against that. We also haven't had, like, the offensive numbers that we've typically had in the past, specifically without Joe Burrow, but also, like, even with Joe Burrow, we weren't really popping on offense that much. So the Colts, I was like, they could give us fits. They've got a decent run game, even without Jonathan Taylor, all that shit. So it was like a pretty even game. You didn't know. It was like the line was like 2.5, 3 maybe. And to go into that game and, like, first of all, take a 14-0 lead, you're like, all right, let's fucking go. And then to let up a 14-0 lead and to have them tie the game at 14 before halftime, and the way that they did, and like they scored in like 30 seconds, like 30 seconds or something, because they scored and then they had a pick six like the next possession that we had. To do that and then go into halftime and then outscore them 20-0 in the second half, like that's fucking. I don't give a shit who you're playing in the NFL. That shit is hard to do. And super impressed with the squad right now. Super impressed with Jake Browning. Back-to-back weeks just balling. It's dope. It's exciting. It's kind of neat to have like a team that you're like emotionally. You guys fucking heard it in my voice a couple weeks ago. Like I wasn't out on them. I was going to continue to root for them. Obviously, that's my squad. And like I was saying, like, you know, I rooted for John Kitna before. You don't think Jake Browning can fucking do this shit? But it was like I was saying, like, Jake Browning is probably better than like 15, 18 starting quarterbacks right now in the league. And I say that considering the fact that 15 to 18 of the fucking quarterbacks in the league are backup quarterbacks right now. Like, there's only like 10, 12 teams that have the same starter that they started the season with. Or, like, they've benched their starter or something like that. Like, there's second, third string guys on the majority of teams in the NFL. I might be, like, exaggerating that number, but it sure as fuck feels like that. For sure. And one of those quarterbacks is Baker Mayfield. Hasn't missed a start this year, right? Like, that's not even – I don't think Jake Browning's better than Baker Mayfield, but I don't think he's that much worse. You know, like I think he's like right in the middle of the pack in the NFL right now, Jake Browning, as far as starting quarterback in the league, which is crazy. And we have also a team that has gone to 2 AFC championship games. And for the most part, it's the team that we have. Like, it's like 70% of these guys on the team right now have been in these big games. You got the same coaching staff. most importantly, you got the same head coach. Like, this is a dude that's figured it out. And what have we always done? We got hot late in the season. This team looks like it's getting, the offense specifically, looks like it's connecting in all the right ways. Even more specifically within the offensive line looks like it's like locked in. I don't know if it's because Burrow's out that they like have gotten like more focused on like, yo, we got to protect this guy, or it's just a matter of the season goes on and you gel as an offensive line. Jonah Williams is a different spot. We got a new left tackle, pretty much a new right tackle, even though he was there last year. He's in a different position. So you've got a team that's kind of still got a gel or a unit, an offensive line unit. They look like they're playing as good as they've looked this whole year, for sure. And so, and now we got a running back that we didn't have all year that's healthy, and we drafted for this very reason. This dude, Chase Brown, is fucking balling. He's only played the last 2 weeks, but like, don't take a lot to get me fucking juiced up on you. And the whole year we were just running Mixon till he fucking couldn't run anymore. Talking shit about him. He looks tired. He looks old and all that shit. It's like, well, he was also like the only dude running the ball for, most of the season. Looks like we got a dude now, Chase Brown. And looks like we can run the fucking screenplay like a motherfucker. I know we had that even in the Arsenal. Burrow never fucking has that. So it's exciting. The Bengals could be. So now they play, they beat the Colts. And now they play the Minnesota Vikings with yet another backup quarterback. That's the other thing. You look at the next 4 games, other than Patrick Mahomes in Week 17 in Kansas City, we could potentially be playing 3 backup quarterbacks. And one of them wasn't even in the league up until like 2 weeks ago with Joe Flacco and the Browns. And that's 4 weeks from now. I'm not saying I wish it happens, but shit, this motherfucker could be injured at any time. He's a statuesque quarterback in the AFC North that comes to fucking hit you every fucking week. He could take a nasty hit at any time. But he actually looked like he could be, it's crazy to see Joe Flacco in the NFL still slinging the ball. That's wild. But I'll tell you what I do not is I don't fear that motherfucker. We played Joe Flacco for many years. Fuck that dude. But, so we play the Minnesota Vikings with, they don't even have Dobbs in anymore. They took him out, and they got Nick Mullins in. Journeyman. And then Pittsburgh the week after is, I don't know what the status is on Kenny Pickett, but he's not playing this week. And he had ankle surgery. That doesn't sound good. Even if he's back, he's not going to be 100%. And if he isn't back, we got Mitch Trubisky. And then you got the Chiefs in Kansas City. And don't get me fucking revved up for that game in 3 weeks. Are you kidding me? I would love to see that. Side note, the fucking Chiefs, if you've watched the NFL as a whole, you probably saw the biggest story this week is the Patrick Mahomes was bitching about the calls. The offensive offsides was called on them, and it took away a play, which I will agree would have been one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. That if that touchdown stood, that would have been a replay that we would see for years. There's a Travis Kelce, 30-yard catch and run, and then he looked back to the left and threw a lateral pass behind him to Tony, and then Tony scored a touchdown. That was pretty fucking cool. I'll give you that. But the motherfucker was offsides. And Patrick Mahomes went in on the refs afterwards on the sideline and all that shit. I just want to say I fucking love it because I do not like – I don't know what it is, but I didn't even realize it was so much hate because the Bengals and the Chiefs have played in the back-to-back AFC championships in the last 2 years. And the Bengals won one, the Chiefs won one, and then 2 regular season matchups, the Bengals won 2. So the Bengals are 3-1, having at one point won 3 in a row, but the Chiefs won the most recent one. And then the Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl after that game. So, they have the whatever if you're looking at the recency thing, they won the most recent game, but they fucking don't like us at all. And some of it has to do with the team. Some of it has to do with the fucking mayor saying Burrowhead and writing a fucking letter to the city of Kansas City. Did nobody ask you to do that, mayor, whoever? What the fuck? But Chiefs fans have been chirping. Whenever anything bad happens with the Bengals, even if they lose a regular season game, if you go on Twitter and look at Chiefs fans, they're talking shit about the Bengals. They were, which just leads me to believe that we're in their head, which is a nice thing. That's where you want to be. They're always thinking about us, and they're always looking for us to go down. But you don't want the haters. It's just weak shit. Like when they lose, I actually don't give a fuck. But now they've been talking all that shit. I wasn't rooting for them to lose actually. Well, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that game. It was against the Bills. Whoever, like the Bills winning would put them at 7-6. So I guess the Bengals they want more people to lose. But whatever. I didn't give a fuck who won that game, really. It was a good game. It was an exciting game and all that shit. At least how it ended. And the Bills end up winning. And Mahomes is at the fucking conference, the post-game conference, talking all that shit about the refs and being a little bitch. I just love that this dude is exposing himself for being a bitch, which it just makes me love our quarterback more, makes me love Joe Burrow more. It's like the same week that Joe Burrow's injured and he gives a suite to Jake Browning's family, which is dope. Also, it's like, people are like, oh, that's the craziest thing in the world. That's the most generous thing in the world. It's like, dude, my boy's making $300 million. You kidding me? Between the contracts and the Bo's money coming in? If he doesn't do that, that's actually kind of fucking weird. But one thing we know about our guy, he's the fucking man. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do shit like that. Of course he let Jake Browning's family take the fucking suite. And I will say the worst thing that Patrick Mahomes did, though, was he went up to Josh Allen after they lost the game, and he was complaining about the call to Josh Allen. It's like, bro, dude just won the game. Congratulate him and walk the fuck away. Like, Joe Burrow has lost a game to you. He lost a game last year where you got 5 downs on a drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've lost games on some petty shit too. Like the fucking holding call in the playoffs, or in the Super Bowl, I should say. The most important stage in football, in sports. We got a bullshit-ass holding call called on us in the most important play of that whole fucking thing, right? Also, Aaron Donald was offsides on the 4th and 2 play that ended the game in the Super Bowl. Had his whole fucking head across. They don't call it. They do call it. The refs fucking suck. The refs always suck. The refs, for the most part, have helped you get to fucking where you're at. They haven't. But also, I'm not sitting here saying that he hasn't gotten to where he is because of the refs. You know what I'm saying? He's a great quarterback. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks the league's ever seen. And that's with or without the refs doing what they do. But, like, when you don't get a call and it fucks up your whole thing, shut the fuck up, dude. Take the fucking out. Be a fucking man, dude. I know I'm saying this from my couch, and I'm sure in the heat of the moment, whatever, but, like, bro, a bunch of people in the heat of the moment would never act like that. You act like a dude that's getting fucking, like, used to getting the calls. It actually makes a lot of sense because you have always gotten the calls. You get one, that motherfucker's foot was across the ball. The ref said they couldn't fucking see the ball. Talk to your boy. Talk to your man. Don't bitch like that. Go to Josh Allen, tell him congratulations on the game. Get the fuck over it, bro. Or at least, like, be angry, but don't be angry there. So I love to see that. I love to see all the people bagging on him all week because I heard a lot of people talking, and the most common theme I heard was they just lost respect for him. And I love that because I don't know what Joe Burrow's future is going to be, but all I know is the way that he operates and the way that he handles himself isn't like that. He could, God, I hope this motherfucker wins a couple Super Bowls for us and all that type of shit. But let's say we get some brutal losses in the future. You know what he's going to always do? He's going to have a backbone. He's going to say congratulations. He's going to do the right thing because he's a fucking man. He's just a simple dude from Athens, Ohio. You know what I'm saying? With this big-ass dick and a fucking sight to see the fucking field like no quarterback has ever seen before. God bless you, Joe Burrow. And thank you for being the man that Jake Browning could count on for fucking Booth, for his family, and a dude to fucking vent to in the quarterback room to lock in and get these W's right. You know what I mean? I love what's going on in Cincinnati right now. And I love that Kansas City is going through what they're going through. And I hate to say that even being a hater. I'm like, honestly, I'm never like hating on another team. But they hate so much on us that all I'm just saying is it's just nice to see him expose himself for what he is and people lose a little respect for him. Because I don't think that move deserved to be respected. So, fuck that shit. Grow up, bro. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, otherwise, I had some other things written down too I wanted to talk to you guys about. Also, if there was a glitch a little bit ago, I had back-to-back weeks. I had the recording thing last week, and then this week my damn video recorder told me I didn't have enough fucking memory on the thing. So I apologize. There, like 12 minutes ago, there might have been a little. You guys will be all right though. During the Jaguars rant, I believe it was. What else have I been up to? You know what I did? I watched. I didn't even hear about this coming out, but Netflix just dropped a movie with Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke. We fucking love Ethan Hawke over here. Big Ethan Hawke guy. Shout out to Jake Hoyt. Training Day. He was also in Gattaca. Just a fantastic film. But they got a movie called Leave the World Behind. Also has, I always fuck up his first name, Mahershala Ali in it. Also a big fan of him. I actually am a fan of the True Detective Season 3 that he was in with Stephen Dorff, a.k.a. Frost from Blade. But so if you haven't seen that, actually check that out. I heard they got a Season 4 coming out, True Detective. I always give him a chance, even though Season 2 sucked. Season 1 bought enough stock in it to trust the process, see it through. So they had this movie called Leave the World Behind. I'm pretty sure it's called that. It's something like that. But you guys probably know what I'm talking about. If you've been on social media this week, or if you're on Netflix, it was like the #1 show, so it's like the one that they're throwing in your face every time you open up the app. Crazy little movie. I actually didn't know what it was about really at all. I didn't hear anything really about it, and I just heard it was all right. People were saying, check this out, blah, blah, blah. Checked out the preview, and I was like, oh, that seems interesting. It's about like potential, not apocalyptic type things, but more, I guess it's a little close to that, but more like the, you know, we live in a world where we're very reliant on all these things, technology and stuff like that, and how those things can get taken away from you real quick, and what the fuck would we be doing? And that was a crazy flick. Check that one out. Dive in. Honestly, don't even know if it was good or not. It was actually good. I also got into it. I was gonna definitely watch it because Sam Esmail directed it and wrote it. But the craziest thing was that the Obamas actually produced it, and then it's about pretty much attack on the government or America in a way that feels very real and like possible. That's a wild thing is living these days. Like, just like, man, some hacker out there has got to be good enough to just fucking take the whole thing down. Whether it's like fuck the water system up, fuck the electricity up, fuck the thing up. This one took it as far as like they'd fuck the satellites up. And I'm not spoiling too much. You know, pretty quick into the movie, that shit is fucked up. And then like the movie's kind of about how you deal with that, and you know this situation between the family that we're following and then who they interact with. But wild little flick. I like flicks like that. I also get like this movie has sat with me, is what I would say. It sat with me, and then also like I was looking up sometimes on a movie like that, I'll like it has an ending that's kind of ambiguous. So then I want to see what people are talking about on the internet about it. So I looked up Leave the World Behind ending. I Googled it, and then I went on Twitter to see what people were talking about. And now the algorithm on Twitter specifically, or I keep calling it Twitter. You guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. X. Now my algorithm is just the most deep conspiracy theories that you can imagine. I'm on a watch list right now. As if I'm not already. I've talked about 9/11 enough on stand-up, and also JFK's assassination enough to definitely be on several watch lists. But yeah, now the X feed is just like deep stuff. I think I had a whole 30-minute video on Bohemian Grove last night. I was trying to dive into that. It's interesting shit, but it got my brain working towards end of the world type stuff. It's a strange time. I don't know. Like I was talking about the other week when I was trying to break down news articles and shit like that. Like literally, if you just look up like Drudge Report and shit like that. Like, look at all the fucking headlines. It just feels like it's the darkest of dark headlines every fucking time. Like I was just looking at something recently, how they were saying that Nostradamus predicts like 2024 might be, I don't know, like the the floods will happen and shit like that. First of all, Nostradamus, you ever looked at these predictions that this dude had? I mean, that's pretty. I don't know if you've ever gone to a palm reader or like somebody that's a fortune teller, so to speak, or whatever they call themselves, a psychic. Um, these people are just saying profoundly vague things that could be attached to anything in your life. Nostradamus, there's one thing that's like the the villain in red is going to strike again, and they're like, well, he's probably talking about China because they have red in their flag. A lot of fucking countries got red in their flag. Okay, I think red is the most popular, easily the most popular color for any flag. I can think of 5 flags they all got red in it. England, America. Doesn't Germany have red? Am I wrong there? I think I'm right. China, Vietnam, Japan. A lot of red stuff. Could be anybody. Russia, for sure. I think. I don't know. Yes, they do. And it's what I was reading one thing like Nostradamus 2024. He's got some pretty scathing things to say about what the next couple years look like. 24 predictions revealed war and famine. Brace yourselves for famine. And then he's credited for foreseeing the rise of Adolf Hitler, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and the September 11th attacks, and COVID. How is he getting credited with all these? He thinks Prince Harry is going to become the king. Is that really a crazy thing to think that a prince is going to become a king? It's a pretty easy prediction. China wages war because there's a red adversary that will become pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread. These are just crazy sentences that you're like, well, he's probably talking about this. Climate crisis has become more apparent in recent years. He predicts it will get worse. The dry earth will grow more parched, and there will be great floods when it is seen. And then there's going to be a new pope, which, you could always every year predict that one of these old motherfuckers is going to die. You know what I'm saying? He's 87. I don't know. I got to look more into this Nostradamus feller. Is it going to be? But then there's nice headlines on here too. Inside Germany's drive-through brothels. That's fun. And it breaks down how there's some pretty much some motorhomes on the side of a highway that you can just stop off for, and for 25 pounds, just bust a load in one of these broads. Or non-broads. I'm sure there's some men. Wormhole's a wormhole. But it really, leave it to the Germans to maximize the use of mobile homes. Those things aren't supposed to sit there and raise a family. You kidding me? You're supposed to go in there, pump, dump, get on out. You know what I'm saying? So that's fun. Good for Germany. And then, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. I hope that it's not, I don't hope it's end of days in my lifetime, but it is interesting to, I've said this before to you guys. I just think it's fun to know that we're definitely nearing the end of the world as we know it. And that was the biggest thing with this movie is, I don't know, like movies like that, you're sometimes like, are they trying to tell us something? You ever think that? Like they're trying to, I guess I get scared of movies like that because you're like, yo, is somebody going to watch this movie and be inspired to do the thing that they're saying? To have the cyber attack that will fuck things up and shit like that? Because there's crazy motherfuckers out there. And all it takes is that we're kind of on a ticking time bomb in this situation. But we've always been like that. It's really like we live on this world and it just takes one crazy motherfucker to be driven enough to go do the thing that will fuck all of us up. So, it was like at one point it was Hitler was a crazy motherfucker that was like, yo, I'm going to take this whole fucking thing over. But the craziest thing, and not to have a direct correlation, but the craziest thing on the opposite side of that is like there were religions too that like at some point they were like, yo, let's take this whole fucking thing over, and they did that. Specifically Catholicism and Christianity. Like they did take over the world, and they just would pull up on any country that they could and force this shit down your fucking throats. And they would torture you if you didn't go with it. There's all the torture methods that you see started with the Holy Wars, pretty much. And they didn't start with them, but like they were fucking executed with them. And so that's weird to think about too. It's always like that one, but all it takes now, it doesn't take a dude to get people on its side too. That's the thing that's like scarier now. It's like you don't have to actually get a bunch of people to agree with you or to admit that we'll be on your side or whatever like that. I'll worship your God, or I'll tell you that you're the dictator or whatever like that. You really just got to have a virus or like a whatever it is, like a cyber attack, or the ability to be able to fuck up all these systems, and we're fucked. We're all just fucked. And when it goes back to that, then we're just humans again that are pretty fucking incapable of a lot of things. That's a big takeaway from the movie is like, when you really strip away all this shit from us, we don't have a lot going on. That's for sure. And then the other perspective that you could watch the movie through too is how divided you get when you are in those situations. When everything's taken away, how do humans divide themselves? Whether it be, because the movie presents a lot of different ways it can. You can divide yourself with race, which is something that there's a white family and then there's not a black family, but a father and a daughter. I guess that's a family, right? That's in it. You could divide yourself by race. You could divide yourself by, at one point, there's a split between men and women in the movie. There's a split between the haves and haves not, like the wealthy and the I guess poor, or poorer. There's a split between like the city people and the rural people. There's a lot of different splits with it. So the movie is really about how divided we are as a country, and when situations like this come down, we should probably be better to each other. And so it's an interesting movie though. It's sat with me for sure. I've thought about it a lot. And it'll make you a little concerned if I'm coming off as concerned. I was a little bit. I haven't watched it. But yeah, check that. I would give it a hard vouch. I would check it out. Julia Roberts is in it. I always like her. Again, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, and then that chick that plays his daughter is this chick from this English movie that I was watching. What's it called? I forget what the fuck it was called, but it was on HBO for a season. She was pretty good. And then Kevin Bacon shows up. I fucking love Kevin Bacon. Shout out to him. Still doing shit. Doing it right. So, check that one out. And then the other thing I've been watching is Murder at the End of the World. I would give that a vouch as well. It's Clive Owen. It's this chick that I don't know, this young actress, is like the main person that is an author that gets invited to this big getaway in they go to Iceland, and then they go to this hotel of like the mega rich, like this dude Clive Owen is kind of playing like maybe like the Elon Musk type. And within the first day somebody dies, and then it looks kind of suspicious, and the chick that is there, the main female in the show, is an author that authored a book about like solving a crime. She solved a cold case, and so she gets pretty sleuthy with it, starts diving into stuff. A little Sherlock Holmes energy, not really, but a little bit. But it's been interesting. I've enjoyed watching so far. I'm on like episode 5 right now. I think there's 7 episodes, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna solve this fucking crime in the next 2 epis, which is pretty exciting too. So that's fun stuff. People keep dying, and there's murder, and it's at the end of the world, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it. And people are cold as shit in it. So check that out too. That's on Hulu. But yeah, just been doing that lately, and trying to chill. I got like a week or so until I go to Pittsburgh. So I'll go to Pittsburgh on the 21st, do the show on the 22nd, the game on the 23rd, and then head back to LA. And then I'll go to Kansas City after that. And then I'm lining up stuff for 2024 also. If you're watching this and you live in a city that I haven't been to, go to Instagram. Let me know what city I should be going to. I'm definitely trying to line up some cities that I haven't ever been to and keep the tours going and shit like that. So I appreciate all the support. Hit up turnercomedy.com. Get yourself some Xmas shit, some Christmas stuff from the website. And then, yeah, come see me. Holla at your boy. Keep sharing all my shit. Keep liking my shit. Keep double tapping my shit. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace.